Welcome back to The Explainer. I'm your host, and today we are embarking on a massive cinematic journey. We're looking at a story that takes the entire lit RPG genre, cranks the difficulty up to absolute nightmare mode, and drops a guy with literally everything to lose right into the center of it. We are tracking the absolutely epic run of a player known in-game as Valor Stead Valor. Get ready, because we're talking insane power scaling, brutal betrayals, and hands down some of the most calculated boss fights you will ever see.
So, picture this terrifying setup. Our protagonist, Han Ji-woo, is a former debt collector who hops into a top-tier VR pod simply to pay off a massive real-world debt. But of course, there's a catch. The game master, Aquila, imposes this incredibly brutal permadeath rule. If you die in the game, you die in real life. Period. And to make matters worse, Han spawns into this brand new world with exactly 1 HP, 0 gear, and he's completely dehydrated. All right, let's dive into part 1, Trapped in a Death King. Starting off with just 1 HP, Han is immediately captured by the witches of the forest. These are a deadly quintet of mage girls who have already killed thousands of players. I mean, one wrong move here in his run and his actual life are over before they even start. But Han? He's an absolute genius. Since he's a veteran of the game's previous versions, he knows a crucial secret. The 5 witches secretly despise each other. So step 1, he rage baits them into this massive, chaotic argument. Step 2, he grabs a fellow captive's bow and drops an acid bomb straight into their cauldron. Boom! The resulting explosion wipes them all out. He instantly farms 300,000 XP, completely perfects his start, and equips an incredibly rare item to unlock the Dragon Bone trait. This skyrockets his physical stats right out of the gate. Now, what does he do with this crazy power boost? It kicks off a grueling 3-month training arc. Han teams up with Master Hunter Rudd, and instead of taking the usual 3-year grind, Han actually masters the entire Hunter class in just 3 months. The final test of all this, he tracks Rudd all the way to the deadly Hellhound's den. It completely proves his ridiculous growth rate and officially secures his foundation in this nightmare of a world.
Moving right along to part 2, The Mercenary's Rise.
Survival in the forest is great and all, but it isn't going to pay off a billion-won debt in the real world. Han needs serious money and influence, so he enters the war as a lowly, entirely unknown mercenary. This is a stark contrast to a guy named Philip, the Steel Elector. Philip is a royal guardian of the game, and he is just as arrogant as he is powerful. This whole dynamic perfectly foreshadows the explosive clash that is absolutely destined to happen between these two. Out on the battlefield against the Orc army, Han's tactical brilliance totally shines again. He successfully pushes the front line and captures the Orc general's literal banner. When his squad eventually gets pinned down by General Cologne, Han makes a massive all-or-nothing gamble. He blows a specific trumpet, successfully summoning Lady Valpurgis, who is this legendary paladin. She shows up, defeats the Orc general in a one-on-one duel, saves Han's squad, and earns Han the highest military honors directly from the Steel Elector himself.
Things take a wild turn in part 3, Betrayal and Dark Awakening.
Just as Han starts getting comfortable, the fantasy adventure turns into a literal nightmare. Philip's own uncle actually betrays the human army to the Demon King. You know, the saying, a noble's duty is to protect the people under them, not throw them away. Well, in the middle of all this chaos, Philip acts like a total coward. He literally abandons Lady Valpurgis to a sadistic vampire named Hexax and her horrifying pack of zombie dogs. It is a sickening betrayal. But it forces Han to step up, and he ultimately saves Valpurgis while dealing a critical blow to Hexax. Saving Valpurgis was just the beginning, though. Her convent's leader, High Abbess Margareta, is actively dying from a dark demonic curse. Without hesitating, Han volunteers to absorb the curse himself to save her. He uses an S-rank relic called the Angel's Heart to barely survive the transfer, and his consciousness gets pulled into the abyss. There, he negotiates with this terrifying entity called Death Smasher. The result of all this? He wakes up as the King of the Dead, unlocking an incredibly overpowered, top-tier necromancer class. I mean, talk about the ultimate zero-to-hero class shift, right?
Which brings us to part 4, The Necromancer's Revenge.
Now armed with the literal power to raise the dead, Han methodically executes his revenge. He ambushes the fleeing Steel Elector with his brand new undead servants. He completely shatters Philip's pride, forcing this arrogant royal to his knees to desperately beg for a healing potion. But Han is merciless here. He tricks Philip into drinking dragon poison that he looted directly from the vampire Hexax. It is such a dark, coldly calculated execution. 2. Taking down a literal elector triggers a massive milestone in the system, instantly earning Han 2 exclusive S-class skills. He is no longer just some clever mercenary. He is rapidly becoming one of the single most dangerous entities in this entire world.
And the stakes get even higher in Part 5, Slaying the Demon King.
So while he's out looking for rare herbs, Han ends up face-to-face with Shoyo. She's an ancient demon dragon, perfectly capable of wiping him off the map in one single hit. To survive, Han essentially forces a mind meld. He injects his own knowledge of the game's timeline directly into her brain, showing Shoyo a hyper-realistic vision of her own brutal future death. This tense, totally mind-bending encounter successfully earns the dragon's trust, just in the nick of time.
Because right at that exact moment, the immortal demon king Odgosh arrives to conquer the canyon, bringing his insanely powerful Ice Queen daughter, Kaloni, with him. The suspense here is unbelievable. Odgosh is literally immortal, so the big question becomes, how on earth does a player defeat an unkillable boss?
Han pulls off this phenomenal 3-step tactical masterclass. First, while the dragon is busy fighting Odgosh, Han secretly broadcasts Odgosh's arrogant confession, which proves he betrayed and murdered Kaloni's real father. Second, a heartbroken and absolutely furious Kaloni turns on Odgosh, blasting him with Cosmos-level true name magic to weaken him. Third, in that tiny moment of vulnerability, Han leaps in and stabs Odgosh with his own immortal horn. It turns out it's the only weapon capable of bypassing his immortality.
Defeating a demon king is one thing, but Han quickly proves that in this world, political chess is just as powerful as a sword. He officially gains the Ice Queen Kalne as a powerful, loyal ally. Then, using imperial documents he looted back from Philip, Han manipulates the literal emperor in the capital city, forcing a devastating economic blockade right against the remaining demon lands.
We're heading into the endgame now. Part 6, A Knight's Deadly Oath. But all this aggressive political maneuvering quickly boils over. In retaliation for his debt deals, a corrupt noble named Ritter kidnaps Lady Valpurgis. Han, alongside his new vampire servant Hexax, immediately breaches this supposedly impenetrable fortress. It's a ridiculously fast-paced, high-stakes infiltration that ends in an honestly hilarious way. High Abbess Margareta just arrives, floats up into the sky, and literally nukes the enemy castle with a blazing pillar of holy light called Supernova. Problem solved. This victory triggers the ultimate lit RPG milestone for our protagonist. For saving Valpurgis and his incredible heroics across the board, Prince Elector Maximilian officially knights Han. From a broke, debt-ridden 1 HP mercenary to an officially recognized Knight of the Empire with his very own land, he has finally made it. But of course, the game never lets Han rest. Just as he's sharing a quiet, romantic moment with Valpurgis, a terrifying red dragon woman drops from the sky like a meteor. She literally drags Han into a dark abyss, forcing him into a soul oath with a primordial entity of darkness. What even is this pact, and why does this dragon seem to know him? It leaves us with a genuinely terrifying question. In a game where 0 HP means actual, real-life death, what happens when the threats go completely beyond anything the developers even programmed? That wraps up our explainer for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and keep your HP high.